Donnie Dunn moves to London to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a comedian, but no one laughs at his shows as people don't find him funny. While waiting for his huge break, he works as a bartender at a pub in Camden called The Heart and lives rent-free with his ex-girlfriend Keely's mother, Liz, in their family home out of town. One day, Martha Scott enters the pub, and upon laying eyes on her, Donnie immediately feels sorry for her. When he asks her if he can get her something, Martha declines, saying she can't afford to buy anything. He gives her a cup of tea on the house, and Martha looks at him like she just fell in love with the man in front of her. Martha shares that she's a successful criminal lawyer with several awards, and she's currently a leading advisor to the government. Aside from owning 4 apartments, she is also well-connected, being the go-to lawyer of the biggest political figures. Looking at her, he can't help but wonder why she can't afford a cup of tea if everything she said is true. Although Martha paints herself as a busy person, she visits the bar every day, all dolled up, and stays for Donnie's entire shift, rambling on about people in her life as if he knows them. She compliments his physique and occasionally blurts out strange suggestions, such as proposing to run away together in a joking manner. When Donnie sees Martha looking sad and vulnerable, he starts paying her compliments. For her 43rd birthday, she invites him to a picnic, which he agrees to. People at the bar begin to notice their closeness, and they tease them together, calling Martha Donnie's girlfriend. When he plays along and jokes back, everyone laughs except Martha, which tells him that she has taken it seriously. Martha gets Donnie's email from his comedy website and starts sending him around 80 emails a day from her iPhone, which is different from the phone she brings to the bar. Uncomfortable with her behavior, he backs out on the picnic plan, saying it's something lovers do, and they grab coffee instead as friends. At the cafe, Donnie witnesses Martha's madness when she suddenly bursts out in anger. Uneasy, he follows her home and finds out that she's living in an unkept apartment that's a walkable distance from the cafe. Shortly after arriving home, she grabs a snack and sends another email to him, prompting his phone to ring and reveal that he's watching her. Attending Donnie's comedy competition, Martha is the only person who laughs at his jokes. He banters with her, which draws continuous laughs from the crowd, and he ends up advancing to the semifinals. After the show, he apologizes for following her the day before, and she tells him it's okay and invites him to come in for a plate next time. She tells him she loves him, and when he doesn't give the reaction she wanted, she quickly clarifies that she loves him as a friend, and he stops her from beating herself up. Donnie receives a Facebook friend request from Martha, and he checks her profile. There, he sees photos of huge political figures with Martha, who is edited in, and a photo of him that she sneakily took on the day they met, with a sweet caption. When he Googles Martha Scott lawyer, he discovers numerous articles about Martha being a deranged lawyer convicted for 4.5 years for stalking and harassing a renowned barrister and his family. Although he now knows that a convicted stalker is stalking him, he accepts her friend request. Donnie fails to get himself to unfriend her many times as he feels like she's ill and misunderstood. Meanwhile, Martha starts leaving bizarre comments on his Facebook photos regardless of how old the photo is. On his photos with Keely, she leaves jealous comments such as, "Who is this? And she's ugly." Martha messages Donnie, thanking him for what she assumes is a date, and asks him if they're official. When he stops typing his rejection response, she gets angry and demands to know if he's seeing someone else. Horrified, he doesn't respond and closes his laptop. Donnie signs up to a trans dating website and disguises himself in a made-up persona, using the name Tony and saying he works in construction. There, he meets and falls in love with Terry, a trans woman therapist who moved to London 6 years ago. However, he keeps their dates to a dim cocktail bar on the edge of town, as he doesn't want people he knows to know that he's dating a trans woman. In fear of Martha finding out about Terry, Donnie tells Terry about Martha and shows her all her emails. When she asks why Martha calls him Donnie, he tells her that she calls him a lot of things, and he backtracks when he accidentally mentions The Heart, the bar Donnie works at. Refusing to hide from Martha, Terry tells him to report Martha to the police to put an end to it, otherwise she'll confront her at The Heart. Drawing boundaries, Donnie starts charging Martha for her drinks and gently rejects her by citing age gap and having kids as reasons to prevent her from making a scene at the pub. Martha quietly leaves, but later floods his email with details that she's fertile. Martha begins to arrive 2 hours before the pub opens and stays in his entire shift talking endlessly about their future together. She informs him that she bought tickets for the semifinals of his comedy competition and is preparing for another banter. Donnie asks his employer Gregsy to bar Martha from the pub and gives him his phone to show him her emails. To his great horror, Gregsy's friend Gino, who's beside him, responds to her emails as Donnie, begging her take her from behind, to which she enthusiastically asks about the time and location. Donnie reschedules his show and takes some drugs before meeting Terry at a gay bar. She invites him to come home with her and blatantly flirts with him on the train ride home. Feeling like people are watching them and judging him, he exits the train when the doors open at the next station without saying goodbye to her. On his way home, he finds Martha waiting for him. He pushes her away, but she refuses to budge and aggressively follows him. She gropes him, causing him to freeze in shock, and she happily leans into his chest to listen to his heart beating. Donnie blocks Martha on Facebook and takes some time off from the pub, hoping that his absence will make Martha stop harassing him. He heads to Terry's to apologize, and he comes clean about his real identity. She makes him leave and he puts his real name and occupation on his account. When he returns home, Liz introduces him to the new members of her cooking group, and he is incredibly horrified to see Martha, who introduced herself to Liz as Sheila. Clueless of what's happening, Liz welcomes Martha when she insists on staying the night. When Liz leaves to prepare her bed, Donnie demands that she leave immediately and that she stay away from Liz, her cooking class, and her house, and threatens to report her to the police if she continues harassing them. Martha refuses to budge but leaves immediately when he's about to dial the police. When he gets to his room, Donnie finds a photo of Martha in her underwear on his desk. He panics, thinking about what she will do next now that she knows where he lives and where his room is. The next day, he finds her waiting for him at the bus shed across from Liz's home and decides not to disembark from the bus to avoid her. Keely returns to their family home and tells Donnie that Martha keeps pestering her on Facebook, so much so that she feels scared she'll run into her. She demands that he tell Martha to stop and threatens to tell Liz about Martha if she doesn't stop. Martha stays at the bus shed and keeps on catcalling Donnie when he passes to and from work. Pitying Martha for staying even when the temperature has dropped, Donnie drives her back to her apartment. Realizing that she truly believes that they're in a relationship, he breaks up with her and convinces her that if she respects their breakup, the relationship they had will remain beautiful. Seeing the change Donnie made in his account, Terry attends his semifinals. When Martha interrupts his set, he tells the audience that she's his stalker. Furious, Martha shows the audience his backdoor email, and she's dragged out of the comedy club. Donnie stops Terry from taking Martha in as her patient and escapes with her through the back rooms when Martha starts knocking on his dressing room. Martha catches them at a bar and attacks Terry. Furious that Martha told Terry that she looks like a man, Donnie frankly tells her that he doesn't and will never want Martha, and that he'd come for her if she doesn't stop. The day after, Donnie finally reports Martha to the police after 6 months of stalking and harassment. When the officer asks him why it took him so long to report it, an unpleasant experience from his past comes flooding back to his memory. 5 years prior, Donnie tried his luck at the Edinburgh Fringe during the Edinburgh Festival, but his early shows were painfully awkward. One night at the Luna Bar, he got acquainted with Cottonmouth lead writer Darian O'Connor, who attended his show the next day. Darian began to mentor him, advising him what works and what doesn't, and rearranged the bar furniture to direct the customer's attention to Donnie. Donnie's comedy began to flourish, and he spent more time with Darian, who eventually made him take drugs with him. Before the festival ended, Darian went back to London, and Donnie felt like his perfect dream was ending. In the following months, Donnie attended Oxford Acting School, where he met Keely, and although things were going well for him, he missed Darian and the success he brought him. While in class, Donnie received a call from Darian, offering him to write with him, which he enthusiastically accepted. They reunited and Donnie pitched his idea, which Darian asked him to rewrite. While high on drugs, Darian performed an unwanted act on Donnie without his consent. After he moved to London with Keely, Donnie's drug addiction worsened as Darian fed him different drugs, along with the promise of great success and wealth. He'd pass out multiple times in his company, and when he woke up, he'd find Darian's hands and spit on his private area. At work, he'd deal with Darian's brutal script feedback. Still, Donnie kept coming back to him, and this strained his relationship with Keely. After a 55-year-old Darian made Donnie, who's in his mid-20s, take acid and GHB, Darian boned a high and barely conscious Donnie without his consent. The next day, Donnie woke up to find Darian cleaning the house like nothing happened and was told to take a shower. As he took a shower, Donnie cried in pain as the water hit his points of trauma, and Darian wrapped a towel around him while hugging him as if to comfort him. Instead of leaving, Donnie still stayed for days. Donnie made up with Keely without telling her what happened, but they soon broke up as Keely misunderstood his discomfort with intimacy as him getting disinterested in her. Not knowing what happened when he was unconscious bothered Donnie, and he started to question whether Darian believed in him or if all of it was just part of his manipulation. He started to feel an overwhelming sexual confusion towards the same gender, and shame thinking people who looked at him knew what happened. All his hate, anger, and confusion made him want to harm Darian and led him to a downward spiral. He got addicted to getting off on men's adult videos, and he started going around boning all genders. No longer interested in love, he went on dates as he craved people's approval and wanted them to provide answers to all the questions in his head. But then he met Terry and fell in love with her. He then hated thinking that Darian might have contributed to him falling for Terry. Martha, on the other hand, made his confusion disappear as she voluntarily gave him the attention he craved and saw him the way he wanted to be seen. To Donnie, it doesn't make sense, and he finds it ironic to report Martha but not report Darian, as Martha is ill, but Darian is a groomer. As the officer finds his case not strong enough, he tells Donnie to come back if he can find proper evidence against Martha. This was a very depressing series, but something eye-opening for those who have gone through something similar. Should we cover more episodes?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.